This is Seasons of Discontent with your hosts Rick Snyder and Matt Combs on the Hogstye Network.
Welcome to Seasons of Discontent, Season 4, Episode 7, brought to you by Rick Snyder's Washington on Twitter, Facebook, and other social media programs. I'm Rick Snyder.
And I'm Matt.
And we're back doing all things Washington sports and life as part of the Hogstye Network on audio and here on YouTube for video. So, Matt, the NFL Power Rankings came out by NFL.com. And let me just say that that's just one man's opinion versus anybody else's. It's not like some supercomputer did them. And of course, Tampa's number one, and Kansas City, Buffalo, Green Bay, Baltimore. Okay. Go way down the scroll a few times. Here's number 24, Washington. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute. Dallas is 21. Giants are 22.
Yeah, that was my big thing. The Giants are ahead of us. I mean, obviously Dallas, they get Dak back. That defense is still kind of suspect, but really the Giants?
Yeah, I mean, they had a nice offseason in a way. And they'll get Saquon Barkley back. And, NFL.com, they always have a New York bias.
Yeah, well.
New York. And everybody likes to, look down on Washington. But I thought they're not 24th. I don't know with this defense, it's going to be one of the best defenses in the NFL. I don't know, Ryan, it's up to Ryan Fitzpatrick. I was really looking at the team and thought, okay, dude, it's up to you. And I got bad news. His pass rating, bleh. He did a 76 last year.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a good year for him.
Yeah.
He always needs a chance and all that. He hasn't been a very good player overall. Now, is he smarter and older? Can he fit in this offense? Can he get like an 80 pass rating? That's what they need. But man, looking at his career stats, he's a great backup.
And that's what he is. He's a career backup. But look, eye test last year, what he did with the Dolphins he was pretty damn good. I understand numbers back up, but your claims. But like I said, with the eye test, he passes. But hey, look, I'm sorry, but if they pull this Aaron Rodgers trade off, which I doubt they will, I don't know if Rodgers is going anywhere. But I tell you what, Rick, they go from 24 to 4. Like they would definitely supplant the Green Bay Packers offense.
Oh yeah, you move them to the take the Packers quarterback off them, but I don't think the Packers would do it in the end. I mean, no. I just don't see it, and not to Washington. If they did it, maybe Rodgers, if he can force his way out, wants to go to Vegas. And then he's near LA and his wife has LA connections and, Washington's the other direction. So
I heard the front runner is Denver.
That's another one too, so short flights over to the coast. I mean, we do film Jeopardy in Washington now and then, so, you could do it here, but, I'd give up whatever. I mean, you can only trade a max of 3 first-round picks. Put that on the board. I'm not giving them Chase, but,
No, I think the trade that Beamish and Finley were talking about the other day was 2 firsts, 2 seconds, Fitzpatrick and Ioannidis.
Right, you don't need Fitzpatrick. If you're getting Rodgers, you can throw him back.
Yeah.
I don't know if they want him. Ioannidis is a nice player, but you could sacrifice a D lineman on that. I'd do it. You could win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
I mean, people say, tell me your pros and cons. Well, the pros is there'll be 1 million people along Constitution Avenue cheering on the parade.
Mm-hmm.
February, it'd be a little cold and lubricated, but, you'd be okay. Yeah, I've seen 3 of them. They had one year, I think the second Super Bowl, it rained like hell on the parade in February. It was brutal. But, hey, do that. And who cares? I mean, look, the Nats and Caps have had them.
Yeah.
And is anybody really upset with them not winning again? Not really. I mean, the Nats especially have been these couple years. The Caps at least have been good. I mean, they finished second behind some stupid team in the division, but that's just cheating life. They got some goon that scores for them now. I see.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We're not going to get into hockey yet.
What happened? Did they take Sid's chair? Is that it? Somebody got mad. Somebody took his chair away from the crease, and he couldn't sit there and chip him in anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They won the division, so okay,
and real quick, that preseason, obviously, look, we're talking about preseason football rankings, the preseason hockey rankings. A lot of people had Pittsburgh missing the playoffs, so this is actually a pretty big deal for them. Mostly because of goaltending. Our goaltending is very suspect because we had two rookies. I mean, two inexperienced guys. I mean, they traded Matt Murray. Obviously, Fleury's in Vegas. So it was just kind of, but hey, look, they're riding the wave because it's getting ready to end. When Malkin and Crosby finally hit that wall and they're gone, we've given up a lot of draft picks to acquire people. So there's not a lot in the pipeline, but I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited. Hey, if they win the Stanley Cup, it will be 4 Stanley Cups since 2009. And that's pretty damn good.
Yeah. I mean, you go for the win. For the win.
But that's what I'm saying. You go for the win. You make the trade. And that's the thing with Rivera. Look, I know he's quote unquote beat it, but how often does cancer come back? You know what I mean? You got a guy that's older. He's gone through cancer. Put all your chips on the table. You've built an amazing defense. You have a very good offense after this offseason. You have playmaking wide receivers. You have a good running back. You have a playmaking tight end. Your offensive line was actually not as bad as people want to say it was last year. Now you've added depth and you've added players along that offensive line, and they're still bringing in guys for interviews for offensive line. It's not like they're set. So put all your chips in the table. You're a quarterback away. Realistically, you are a quarterback away, and the parity in this league is something that has been talked about for years. You can go from worst to first in a matter of a year. Look at Tennessee. Look at the Chiefs. The Chiefs before Mahomes, they were just a 10-win team with Alex Smith, but they can't make the push in the playoffs. That's what you need. Look, Fitz will probably get us to the playoffs, and you always talk about it with coaching. I'm going to talk about it with quarterbacks. You need that player that can take you over the hump and make you a winner in the playoffs, and I don't know if Fitz can do that. He's never won a playoff game. I don't even think he's ever been in a playoff game. You get a guy like Aaron Rodgers, or even like we've talked about previously, next year, you get a guy like Matt Ryan. Those guys have been to Super Bowls. Those guys have won in the playoffs. You put them on this team, you just drop them in. It's going to work, and you got to make that push. Like you said, I would die for a parade going down Constitution Avenue in February. I'd be out there in my underwear. I'd be so dang on excited because I haven't seen it since 91. I was 9 years old. That's the last time I saw this team do anything relevant aside from 2012 with RG3. And we all know how that ended.
Yeah. I mean, I was really happy to see the Nats win it because, I grew up baseball and then they left, and it was like 30 years without baseball. And then finally they got a chance. They knocked on the door and they blew it a few times in the playoffs. And you thought, I'm never going to get to see this. And then they punched through. And since then they haven't done, last year was a weird season. This year they're off to their usual 500 start. But
yeah. And that's to your point, that was my biggest thing. Like growing up as a Penguins fan, obviously I had the early success in 91, 92 when they won back-to-back cups. I got to see that, but that's when you're 9 and 10 years old. Like you don't understand the magnitude of it. And then they sucked. The team almost got moved. The team was bankrupt. They had to give the team to Mario Lemieux in order to pay the debt that they owed to him from his playing days. And he turned the team around. You look at the Nats. The Nats were the Expos. Let's be honest. They came from Montreal. They weren't expected to do anything. They were owned by the damn league, and the league traded away all of our good players, and this team was built up from the bottom. You look at the Caps, even the Caps. Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I wasn't happy for the Capitals fans that when they won a Stanley Cup, that team was constantly at the top and couldn't break through. And once they finally broke through, look at what it did. I mean, do it. I'm sorry. There's no other statement. Do it. If you can make this trade, sacrifice your draft picks, because realistically, look at this team pre-Rivera. Look at this team's drafting history in the first round. Hell, one of their former first-round picks just got cut yesterday in Josh Doxson. Got cut by the Jets. Come on, man. I mean, first-round picks, yes. You have a first-round pick like Chase Young, the number 2 overall player in the draft, probably the best player in the draft because Burrow got hurt. And then you turn around and then you have a guy like Josh Doxson, and not to mention Fred Davis and Malcolm Kelly and the other wide receiver that they took in 2010. I mean, if you can do this trade, do it. Sacrifice the picks, sacrifice one of your good defensive linemen. Look, I like Matt Ioannidis at the beginning. I thought he was just a jag, but that dude has turned out to be something.
Yeah. And there'll be pressure on the football team to win something because the Wizards are going to take the NBA title this summer. So
the Wizards are hot. They got you saw what Westbrook did last night. He tied Oscar Robinson.
Yeah, I mean, at first I wondered, is this dude is he playing with too much rage? Is it not the right chemistry? Well, here we go nearing the playoffs. They're roaring to the end. John Wall is hurt, not playing anymore in Houston. Yeah, they won that trade.
Yeah. Shame on y'all that thought giving up Wall was a bad idea.
I mean, Russell Westbrook is I've never seen a player with so much pure energy.
He's a machine. He is just a pure machine. But Rick, I think the thing that got overlooked during that trade was Russell Westbrook's a former MVP in this league. Not just the playoffs or anything. The league, the whole league, 82 games.
Yeah, been just amazing. And they've been amazing. They're still under 500.
Yeah.
But the year they won the title of 78, they were barely a 500 team, and they just got hot in the playoffs and won the title.
That's what it takes, man. That's all it takes. How many times have you seen in hockey a 6 seed takes the Stanley Cup? It's because you get hot at the right time. You have players that are in important positions stepping up. I mean, hell, we haven't even talked about this. Bradley Beal is in competition to win the scoring title with Steph Curry. I mean, come on. We have 2 of the hottest players in the league. Now, granted, like I said, they're in ninth place. They're on the heels of Charlotte to get into that 8th seed, so they don't have to play in the play-in game. I don't think. I don't know how the NBA playoffs are weird this year, but I mean, there's some hot teams right now in the NFL or in the Washington area, and a lot of people are excited about the football team, but that quarterback is still a question mark.
Yeah. So switching in the last minutes here, FedEx Field hopes to have a full house this fall. Right now, Maryland has a 50% restriction on things, but by September, hopefully we're pandemic and everything. I actually went out and ate at a restaurant last night, outdoors, but still down there. And, they could have 100%. Now, will FedEx Field be 100% filled? There was a lot of talk of people were saying, oh, they won't do this. I think for the opener, unless it's really a bad team that they're playing, that's a bad draw, they'll be sold out or near sold out. If it's a division game, for sure, because you do have a lot of visiting fans, but I think you just have a lot of fans who have realized they missed going. Yeah. And they'll come back. I think honestly, probably the first couple weeks, it will be a sold out crowd. Like you said, look, we missed going to sporting events for the past year. But honestly, there is a buzz around this team. And even if they go into the season with Fitzpatrick as the starter, there is a lot of buzz around this team to see what they can do. And I think that until they start sucking, if they do start sucking, this team, they will have some sellouts. And then if they do say they go 3-4 in the first 7, then maybe we'll see some of the visiting fans show up. But I think that there is a little bit of a buzz. Well, the schedule comes out Wednesday night. We're actually going to do a podcast right afterwards, so make sure you come back for that. They have the 12th hard to schedule. That's a really hard thing. This is also Preakness week, which I'll give out my 100-star Preakness horse pick later on this week. But the one that just had breaking news where Baffert's horse Medina Spirits, who won the Derby, tested positive for basically an anti-inflammatory. The horse is still going to run, and this is all going to be in courts for a while. So nothing's changed this week. But that does put a little bit of, Paul on Baffert, about a drug positive. He's fought him off before. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll talk about that Wednesday night, too, about who I'm going to pick. Because I always like to do, I've covered about 35 Preaknesses, and I've had a good winning percentage. So you never know. So it looks like we're time to go again, man.
Yeah, Rick doesn't have his bell, so I'll do it for him. Ding.
Yeah, so thanks for coming and listening to the show. I'm Rick Snyder.
And I'm Matt.
See you Wednesday night.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Seasons of Discontent on the Hogstye Network.